funny fact about Disney is you look at who are their top shareholders on that top list is none other than BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Now, you would assume that in a free market, on a free, not to pick on, but in a free market, what would you expect? Competition. So this is a great opportunity for who are Disney's competitors. So let's look up who are Disney's competitors. Paramount Pictures. Well, who owns Paramount Pictures? Paramount Global. Who are the top shareholders of Paramount Global? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. They operate some theme parks. Universal Studios. Let's see. Who operates Universal Studios? Well, Universal Studios is a jointly owned subsidiary of General Electric and Comcast. And then you look at who are the top shareholders of General Electric and Comcast. It is none other than BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. So we tell ourselves this mythology that we invented, that we live in a system of free market capitalism or whatever, when the capital owners don't want Disney to be behaving this way. The capital owners would rather Paramount Pictures or Universal Studios be taking advantage of it. But we've created this fiction that the shareholders, the institutional gatekeepers, the people who are actually, instead of palace walls in old world Europe, now palace walls in the back of Park Avenue in BlackRock's corner office, telling the entire American economy how to run. We need to fix that top down. These are fiduciary violations. They're antitrust violations. The use of state pension fund dollars constitutes a First Amendment violation. It's called compelled speech, when the government forces you to contribute money to a pension and then engages in political speech. It engages in political speech by giving it to BlackRock. But these are legal solutions that we can't just lull ourselves to sleep at night by saying the free market mantra 10 times before you go to sleep and then pretend like that somehow solved the problem, waking up to the fact that the free market cannot fix what is not free to fix. I think there's a reasonable discussion to be had about breaking up BlackRock. Okay? It is a firm that cannot represent constituents who have, it's not that it's too big, it's that you can't be a good fiduciary to clients who have fundamentally different interests any more than you can be a lawyer in the courtroom arguing the prosecution and the defense in the same case. It's a fiduciary point, it's not just a big is bad point. That's the top-down solution. But it does take two to tango, okay? Why aren't people pulling that cord? It's easy to say it, but what is it in our nature that causes us not to? Because we can do the boycott thing and it'll last for all of a week and then we go on with our lives and resubscribe. It's the same question about, it's something innate in our human nature, right? It's easy to complain about the other. It's a lot harder to look in the mirror. What is it within each of us that causes us to want to bow down to the new master? It's the same thing when the Israelites were lost in the desert. They said they want to go back and be ruled by Pharaoh. It exists in each of us. It is an impulse to bend the knee and be ruled by a new class of ruler. And I think that that's going to require a deeper cultural change. How are we going to invigorate that cultural change? There's no silver bullet. I do think leaders can make a difference. I do think in the political realm, there's an opportunity for the GOP to make a difference. The right kinds of leaders starting at the top of the Republican Party, being able to lead a way that leads to a national revival. But it's not just in politics. It's leaders in churches. It's leaders in our private sector, CEOs who actually lead the people who work for them. Just because your employees ask for something doesn't mean that's actually what they want. It's like the equivalent of a baby that's asking for its pacifier when it's really just hungry for a bottle, right? You got to feed them what they actually need, not what they're necessarily crying for on a given day. That requires leadership in every sphere of our lives, whether it's politics or whether it's private sector leadership or whether it's even church leadership. And so I think it's got to be both, the top-down fixes, but also the bottom-up cultural revival that we're going to need. And at some point, those two forces are going to meet, and that's when we see our national revival.
Okay, well, Vivek, we're at our time limit, and we